This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw. Join the conversation on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Phuket Live Radio.
Hello and welcome to the program. A brand new week ahead. Some of the stories making news. We go to Myanmar, where massive food shortages are looming as a result of devastating damage to crops. Malnutrition cases in the Philippines causing stunting in children. In Malaysia, police officers arrested during a raid on a gambling casino. And to Laos, where the Don Sahong Dam looks to proceed despite protest. All this and more here on the Phuket News Hour. We'll keep you up to date with all the stories making news locally, nationally and in the region. We'll cross to the Phuket News Centre and to the BBC. Stay listening to the Phuket News Hour from 11 Monday through Friday. The catch-up program, 6 a.m. Tuesday till Saturdays. And don't forget the podcast on PhuketLiveRadio.com. All brought to you by the Kids Club Phuket, the Phuket News Hour, where you don't miss a thing.
The news you need to know. This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw.
Looking at stories in ASEAN, we go to Laos because the Laos Parliament has approved the concession agreement for a controversial dam project with construction expected to begin before the end of 2015. This is the Don Sahong project, despite regional concerns. Now, according to recent reports, the proposed 260 megawatt Don Sahong hydropower project is a critical part of the Laos government's hopes to transform the country into the battery of Southeast Asia, with revenues generated from exporting power to neighbouring countries. But the other three neighbouring countries in the lower Mekong, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, all ASEAN members, have repeatedly called for construction to be halted because they fear the project will dramatically alter the flow of the Mekong River and disrupt the migration of the fish to the detriment of downstream communities in neighbouring countries. Now, on September the 1st, according to the Phnom Penh Post, the Director General of the Energy Policy and Planning Department of the Laos Ministry of Energy and Mines, in an email statement to the National Assembly, that an approval, the concession agreement for the Don Sahong Dam had taken place with Malaysian developer Megafirst. He added that a power purchase agreement between state-owned Electricity de Laos and the company was awaiting signature and construction would begin before the year's end. The move further confirms what many have feared, that despite several protests, delays and adjustments, the Laos government is determined to eventually complete the Don Sahong project. That story from thediplomat.com, and we'll keep following that development of battery of Southeast Asia, according to the Diplomat, that Laos wants to become. A report from the Philippine Star that the Philippines and Brunei are to enhance their defence ties. Chara Revitt with this report.
The armies of the Philippines and Brunei are eyeing joint exercises and training to strengthen and improve interoperability. The proposal was discussed during the meeting. A bilateral working group can be formed to facilitate the conduct of visits, training exchanges, joint military exercises, and other similar activities. I believe that as we put in place an army-to-army working group, our forces can examine our common capabilities as well as concerns and eventually promote Philippines-Brunei bilateral defense ties. I am certain that the RBLF has much to share with the Philippine Army in terms of capability upgrades, especially after your successful initiatives in enhancing force capabilities and defense policies.
Chara Revitt with that report. More news on the way. This is the Phuket News Hour.
Missed something? No problem. Listen to the Phuket News Hour any time of the day. Programs posted daily on the PhuketNews.com/radio and on our Facebook page, Phuket Live Radio.
Going to Jakarta, Indonesia, the Bangkok Post is reporting that Indonesia will allow entry without visas to 47 more countries in another bid to make its tourism sector competitive with Thailand and other Southeast Asian countries. According to the Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs, Rizal Ramli, has said that tourists from those 47 countries can travel to Indonesia on a visa-free policy from October 2015. Originally, it was proposed to be made effective in January 2016, but we don't want to wait too long. In addition, we want to take advantage of the year-end tourist season. Now, the Indonesian government in April 2015 put 30 countries on the visa-free list for short stays to make the total 45. Indonesia projected 10 million tourists this year after seeing 9 million visit the country last year. The Indonesian Tourist Minister has said that the policy would make Indonesia more attractive for travellers than Thailand and Malaysia. Thailand targeted 28.8 million tourists in 2015. The spokesperson for the National Council of Peace and Order said last Thursday that the target remained on course. That story from the Bangkok Post. Moving to business news, commercial developers, according to CNBC, a fast expanding supply in Cambodia on the hopes for greater Asian demand, but the property market's shaky fundamentals could still keep investors away. Office stock in the capital city Phnom Penh is set to surge 64% by 2018, according to new research by Knight Frank, as both foreign and local developers bet on revived interest ahead of an economic integration plan by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Known as the ASEAN Economic Community, the project is due around year-end and aims to launch a single market for goods, services, capital and labour across the bloc's 10 member countries, which Cambodia is a part of. The hope is that the companies and investors will take advantage of easier logistics to enter the region's frontier markets. Several commercial projects are due for completion over the next 2 years, including a 20-storey office building called Exchange Square by Hong Kong Land in 2017 and an 11-storey unit called the Emerald Tower by the end of 2015. Approximately half of Phnom Penh's office occupiers are international businesses from China, Japan, Malaysia, South Korea and Singapore, making the AEC an essential element to future demand. Indeed, confidence is high among experts like Moody Investor Services that the ambitious economic integration plan will benefit Cambodia, which should translate into more international companies entering the real estate market. That story from CNBC.com. More news on the way. This is the Phuket News Hour.
Your daily news fix, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Only on Live 89.5.
Breaking news. The Kids Club Phuket is the best place for your kid to have so much fun with children of their age. You know, the Kids Club Phuket is located opposite Jung Salong, 800 square metres of air-conditioned comfort for your kids to play. Wonderful trained nannies there to monitor your children while you pop over the road to Jung Salong. Have a kid-free meal, get your nails done, do the shopping. The Kids Club Phuket, open 10 a.m. through to 9 p.m, 7 days a week, opposite Jung Salong. Underground parking, the best fun your kid can have. And if you're looking for party supplies too, the Kids Club TKC Party Supplies. Check out the full range of great party decorations, balloons, plates, everything you need. The Kids Club Phuket. Go to kidsclubphuket.com. The Kids Club Phuket, proud sponsors of the Phuket News Hour.
The stuff you need to know. 60 minutes of news on the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw.
The Bangkok Post is reporting that the federal government's bid to seek financial compensation from former Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and former state officials implicated in the multi-billion baht rice pledging scandal should be ready to go to trial by late 2015 or early next year, 2016. Two panels have been set up to determine if the suspects can be held liable to repay state losses and how much the amount would be. The government will press charges by the end of 2015 and no later than early 2016. The rice pledging schemes launched by the Yingluck administration created substantial losses for the state, according to the Bangkok Post story, and caused at least 17 rice farmers to commit suicide. The case's statute of limitations, a law prohibiting prosecution after a certain period of time, will expire in February 2017. Prosecutors had 2 years to prove their case. We'll keep following that story of the rice pledging scheme. Moving to Malaysia, the New Straits Times online is reporting that 5 policemen nabbed during a raid on an illegal gambling den. Chara Revitt with this report.
Police nabbed 5 of their own during a raid on an illegal gambling den in Kuala Lumpur last Thursday. The 2:15 p.m. operation, codenamed Obdadu, was carried out by the Federal Police Integrity and Standard Compliance Department, ISCD, following information received on a policeman frequenting the premises. Sources told the New Straits Times that 4 of the policemen arrested were attached to the Petaling police station, while another was attached to the Brickfields District Police Headquarters. 2 of them were ranked corporal, 2 lance corporal, while another was constable. The raid was conducted by a team of Butik Ahmad ISCD officers. When the team raided the premises, 3 of the policemen were found gambling there, while 2 others were visiting. The team also arrested an Indonesian man who works as the den's caretaker, 2 Indonesian women who work as his assistants, and a 39-year-old man who was gambling there. Police also seized 23 sets of computers, 2 units of internet modem, and 816 Malaysian ringgit during the operation.
Chara Revitt with that report, and wow, the police arrested at a gambling den. That story from the New Straits Times. More news on the way. This is the Phuket News Hour.
Today's important stories and the island's best music. This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw.
Moving to Myanmar, the Bangkok Post is reporting that Myanmar risks food shortage and relief funds are inadequate. This story published in London that floods in Myanmar caused by the heavy monsoon rains and cyclones have destroyed crops, killed livestock, and will cause future food shortages if aid is not provided. Though funding so far is inadequate, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization has said. Some 1.6 million people have been affected and more than 100 killed since June, the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has said. Cyclone Komen, which hit Myanmar at the end of July, worsened the damage caused by the unusual heavy monsoon rains, and floodwaters have inundated a total of 1.4 million acres of farmland. The floods and the natural landslides across the country have destroyed 972,000 acres of standing crops and 36,000 acres of fish and shrimp ponds and drowned 20,000 cattle. Now that the waters have receded, we need to act swiftly to help rural communities get back on their feet, providing them with seeds, equipment and other support they need, according to Bui Thi Lan, the FAO representative in Myanmar, in a statement that was published by that story in the Bangkok Post. Very concerning possible food shortage in Myanmar, and with the looming elections in November, possible humanitarian food aid required. Extraordinary story. Still with the Bangkok Post, we move to Manila. Children in the Philippines suffer from sub-Saharan levels of malnutrition that stunts growth in a people who have traditionally been considered short because of genetics, a campaign group said last week. Although economic growth has surged in recent years, chronic malnutrition in the Philippines mean the country has more stunted children than Ethiopia or the Republic of Congo, the Save the Children Fund has said in a new report. Now, according to Amado Parawan, the group's health and nutrition advisor, quote, "The assumption has always been that Filipinos are just genetically short, but what we actually see now are generations of stunted and malnourished children. About 1 in 3 children under 5 years of age is suffering from stunting. Sometimes the families may hide such children out of shame that they cannot feed them. Because shortness is considered a racial trait, it's not seen as a serious concern. But stunting is more than just being short. It impacts children's future because it hinders physical and mental growth." Now, data collated by the Save the Children Fund shows Filipino men are on average 5 feet 3 inches, about 1.6 metres tall, one of the shortest in Southeast Asia. Men in the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Bloc, ASEAN, on average, an inch taller, with Singaporeans and Thai males the tallest at 5 feet 7 inches. The global average for men is 5 feet 6 inches. International studies have shown the Philippines has the 9th largest proportion of stunted children. A timely reminder of the work of ASEAN over the next decades about ensuring that throughout the 10 nation member countries of ASEAN that these kind of studies can continue. A terrific report from the Bangkok Post. More news on the way. This is the Phuket News Hour.
Missed something? No problem. Listen to the Phuket News Hour any time of the day. Programs posted daily on the phuketnews.com/radio and on our Facebook page, Phuket Live Radio.
That is the Phuket News Hour for today. This program produced and presented by Tim Shaw, associate producer Chara Revitt. Don't forget you can catch the podcast highlights by going to PhuketLiveRadio.com. Make sure you have a great remainder of the day. Go and grab a copy of the latest Phuket newspaper. It's out now. It's available in 600 outlets right around the island. An extraordinary front page story about Scarred for Life. You won't believe it when you read it. The Phuket News Hour, proudly brought to you by the Kids Club Phuket. Have a great remainder of the day. Catch up with us again from 11 o'clock tomorrow here on Live 89.5. Bye for now.
This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw. Join the conversation on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Phuket Live Radio.